If you're over 50 and your lower back has become that constant nagging reminder that something isn't right, listen closely for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share isn't theory, it's not a trendy fitness fad, and it's definitely not another list of 50 complicated stretches you'll never actually do. These are 4 surgeon-approved exercises that cut straight to the root of low back pain for people in their 50s, 60s, and beyond. And yes, they work even if you've tried everything. Even if you feel stiff when you get out of bed, even if your job keeps you sitting for hours, even if you feel like your spine is aging faster than the rest of you. By the time you finish this video, you'll know exactly what to do, how to do it, and why these movements change things so quickly for so many people. So stay with me, because these 4 simple exercises might be the difference between another decade of back pain and finally getting your life, mobility, and confidence back.
When we talk about low back pain after the age of 50, a lot of people immediately assume it's just a normal part of getting older. They think that stiffness, soreness, and those nagging twinges are unavoidable, that the joints are simply wearing out and there's nothing you can do to stop it. But here's the thing, that's only half the story. The truth is, a huge portion of the back pain that develops as we age isn't caused by our spine itself wearing down, but by the weakening of the muscles that are meant to support it. And when I say muscles, I'm not just talking about your abs or your back muscles that you see in the mirror. I'm talking about the deep, stabilizing muscles that wrap around your spine, your hips, and your core. These are the muscles that quietly do the work of holding your spine in the correct position, keeping your pelvis stable, and absorbing shock as you move through life. Over the years, especially if you've had a sedentary lifestyle, spent decades sitting at a desk, or even if you've just been cautious because of occasional pain, these muscles can lose strength without you even noticing. And when that happens, your spine starts taking the load instead. Every step, every bend, every twist that your body does is now being handled by the bones, ligaments, and discs themselves, instead of by the muscles that were designed to protect them. That's when pain starts to appear. It might start as a dull ache after a long day or a sharp twinge when you bend down to pick something up. It might wake you up in the morning, make walking uncomfortable, or cause that feeling of stiffness that seems to set in deeper as the years go by. And most importantly, the longer this imbalance continues, the harder it becomes to reverse. Now, I want to be clear, age does play a role in spinal health. Our discs lose some hydration, our joints can develop arthritis, and our bodies just naturally become a bit less resilient over time. But here's the part that most people miss. Age alone doesn't have to mean pain. Many people over 50, even into their 70s and 80s, move with little to no discomfort. They don't have to deal with chronic stiffness or the fear of aggravating their back. Why? Because their muscles are still doing their job. Their spine is supported, their core is strong, and their hips and glutes are active. So the real difference isn't a number on a birthday cake or how many years you've lived. It's the condition of your muscles and how well they are still protecting your spine. When these stabilizing muscles are weak, the body develops compensations. You might notice you tend to slouch while standing or sitting, or your posture shifts when you lift objects. Even subtle shifts in alignment can create extra stress on the discs and ligaments, and over time, that stress leads to inflammation, irritation, and pain. But the good news is that these muscles respond incredibly well to the right kind of exercise, even after decades of inactivity. They just need the correct stimulus to wake up, re-engage, and start doing their job again. And that's exactly what the 4 exercises we're going to talk about are designed to do. They target the specific muscles that tend to weaken with age, the glutes, the deep core stabilizers, and the muscles along the spine. And they retrain your body to move safely and efficiently. When these muscles regain strength, your spine starts taking less of the load. Movements that once caused discomfort begin to feel easier, your range of motion increases, and you might even find yourself moving more confidently without thinking about it. It's also important to understand why many common approaches to back pain fail. People often focus on stretching alone, or they try superficial core exercises that don't actually reach the deep stabilizing muscles. That's why stretching feels good temporarily, but the pain often comes back. Stretching doesn't address the underlying weakness. Similarly, generic ab workouts that target only the visible abs don't provide the support your spine truly needs. The muscles that prevent low back pain are deep and precise, and they need precise activation. This is why a surgeon who has treated thousands of patients can confidently say that strengthening these specific muscles is one of the most effective ways to prevent and reduce low back pain, even in people over 50. It's a shift in thinking. Instead of seeing back pain as an inevitable part of aging, you start seeing it as a problem that can be addressed, often without surgery, without long-term medication, and without expensive treatments. The key is understanding that your body still has the capacity to change, to rebuild strength, and to move more efficiently, and that rebuilding these muscles can be transformative. Many people find that even after just a few weeks of consistently engaging the right muscles, the difference is remarkable. Pain diminishes, movement becomes smoother, and everyday tasks no longer feel like a challenge. The overarching idea is simple. Your spine isn't fragile, your muscles are just undertrained. By strengthening the stabilizers, you provide your spine with the support it's been missing. And once that foundation is rebuilt, everything else, walking, bending, lifting, sitting, and standing, starts to feel safer and more natural. Age doesn't have to mean pain or immobility. You can maintain an active lifestyle, enjoy time with your family, pursue hobbies, and feel strong in your body. The reason low back pain develops isn't because your spine has failed, but because the muscles designed to protect it have lost strength over time. And once you restore that strength, you'll often find that the discomfort that seemed permanent starts to fade. It's not magic, it's biomechanics. And it's reassuring to know that after 50, your body is still capable of remarkable recovery and improvement if you just give it the right exercises to wake those stabilizing muscles back up.
Now let's talk about these 4 exercises that are actually approved by surgeons and specifically designed to target the muscles that protect your lower back. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they're over 50 and dealing with back pain is trying to do too much too soon or following generic workouts that aren't tailored to their spine. The truth is, you don't need a complicated routine or an hour-long gym session to make a difference. In fact, most people see the best results with just a few targeted movements that hit the glutes, the core, and the deep spinal stabilizers. These are the muscles that, when properly activated, take pressure off your discs and ligaments, stabilize your pelvis, and keep your spine in the safest, strongest position possible. These aren't just any exercises. They are carefully chosen because they work for people over 50 and they're gentle enough to do without aggravating your back while still being effective. The first thing to understand is that these exercises focus on activation before intensity. That means it's not about lifting heavy weights or pushing your body to extremes. It's about teaching the muscles that have been dormant for years to wake up and work again. This is crucial because if you jump straight into aggressive strengthening or stretching, you risk injury or irritation. By starting with precise movements, you rewire the connection between your brain and your muscles, and your body begins to move in a safer, more supported way. The second thing to know is that these exercises are functional. That's a fancy way of saying they make your daily life easier. When your glutes, core, and spinal stabilizers are strong, you're not just improving your back health in theory, you're literally making it easier to bend down to tie your shoes, lift groceries, get out of a chair, or even walk upstairs. The 4 exercises work together like a team. The glutes provide hip stability, which reduces the shear forces on your lower spine. The deep core muscles act like an internal corset, protecting your spine from excessive movement and keeping your posture aligned. And the spinal stabilizers along your back maintain the natural curves of your spine, which helps your discs absorb shock rather than bear the full weight of your body's movements. Each exercise has a specific purpose and targets a muscle that is often neglected as we age. Over time, when these muscles are reactivated and strengthened, you start to notice that your spine feels supported even when you're doing simple things like standing from a chair
chair or walking for longer distances. Another reason these exercises are so effective is that they emphasize control and precision rather than repetition. Many people think that more reps equal better results, but for back health, that's not true. It's the quality of movement that counts. Engaging the right muscles in the right sequence retrains your body to move efficiently, reduces compensations, and prevents pain from recurring. For instance, when your glutes are weak, your lower back ends up doing the work your hips should be doing, and that creates tension and discomfort. By consistently doing these exercises, you're essentially restoring the natural mechanics of your body, letting your glutes, core, and spinal muscles share the load properly. This is one of the reasons why surgeons often recommend these movements as part of a conservative approach to back pain. They address the root cause rather than just masking symptoms with medication or temporary relief. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, I've tried exercises before and they didn't help. That's understandable because most back exercises are either too general or target the wrong muscles. The secret with these 4 exercises is that they are precise, simple, and repeatable. They don't require fancy equipment, and you can do them in the comfort of your own home. You can also adjust them to match your current fitness level. If you're just starting out, you can do them gently with a focus on form. If you're more experienced, you can increase intensity by adding light resistance or holding positions a bit longer. The key is consistency. These muscles have been underactive for years in many people over 50, so it takes a little patience, but the results are worth it. Within a few weeks of practicing these exercises regularly, you'll often notice decreased stiffness, less nagging pain, and a greater sense of control over your body. Movements that used to feel risky start feeling natural again. You might even notice that your posture improves without thinking about it, because the muscles that maintain alignment are finally doing their job. It's also worth mentioning that these exercises don't just help with pain relief, they also prevent future injuries. Once your core and glutes are active and your spine is stabilized, the risk of strains, spasms, and overuse injuries drops dramatically. That's why surgeons and physical therapists often integrate these movements into long-term back health programs. They're not just a temporary fix, they're a foundation. If you commit to practicing these consistently, you're building a body that's stronger, more resilient, and less prone to the chronic pain that so many people over 50 accept as inevitable. And the best part is, because they're targeted, you don't have to spend hours exercising every day. A few minutes, done correctly, can be enough to start feeling a difference. It's about working smarter, not harder, and focusing on the muscles that truly matter for spine support and functional movement. Finally, understanding why these 4 exercises are so effective helps you stay motivated. You're not just moving randomly or following generic fitness advice, you're engaging in a system that addresses the exact weak points that contribute to low back pain after 50. Your body starts to relearn efficient movement patterns, your muscles regain strength and endurance, and your spine begins to feel supported in ways it hasn't in years. This approach doesn't just reduce pain, it restores confidence. You feel safer moving, you feel stronger, and you start living life without the constant fear of aggravating your back. That's the real power of targeted, surgeon-approved exercises.
Now let's get into what happens when you actually start doing these exercises consistently and correctly, because this is where the real transformation takes place. Many people over 50 have spent years dealing with low back pain, and over time, they develop habits to compensate without even realizing it. Maybe you shift your weight when you stand, avoid certain movements, or hold your body in ways that put extra strain on your spine. These compensations make pain feel normal, but they're actually keeping your muscles weak and your back vulnerable. That's why just knowing which exercises to do isn't enough. The magic happens when you practice them regularly and when your body begins to rewire itself, restoring strength, stability, and control. The first thing you'll notice is that everyday activities start to feel easier. You don't realize how much your lower back has been working overtime until it finally has support. Bending down to pick something up becomes smoother, getting out of a chair feels effortless, and walking for longer distances doesn't cause that familiar tightness or stiffness. Your body begins to trust itself again because the muscles that are supposed to stabilize your spine are finally engaged and functioning properly. One of the most remarkable changes is in your posture. As we age, core and glute muscles often lead to a slouched or rounded stance, which puts more pressure on the discs in your lower back.
But when you strengthen these muscles through targeted exercises, your posture naturally improves without conscious effort. You may notice yourself standing taller, your shoulders aligning, and your pelvis resting in a more neutral position. This alignment doesn't just look better, it changes the way your spine bears weight. Movements that used to trigger pain now feel supported because the pressure is being distributed across muscles rather than falling entirely on ligaments and discs. It's subtle at first, but over time, you'll feel a real difference in how your body carries itself, how it responds to movement, and how resilient it feels in daily life. Another major benefit is the reduction in stiffness. Anyone over 50 knows the kind of stiffness I'm talking about, the way your lower back feels like concrete in the morning, or the ache that settles in after sitting too long. This stiffness often comes from inactivity, weak muscles, and tension in the tissues surrounding the spine. When you engage the glutes, core, and spinal stabilizers, you increase circulation, mobilize joints, and activate muscles that have been dormant. This not only helps lubricate your joints, but also eases tension and encourages flexibility in the areas that really need it. Even just a few sessions a week can make a difference. People often report that they can get up from bed or a chair with less discomfort, and simple movements that used to feel risky now feel natural. This reduction in stiffness is more than a physical change. It's a confidence boost because movement no longer triggers fear or hesitation. Pain relief is another obvious benefit, but it's important to understand how it works. Strengthening the muscles that support your spine allows your body to redistribute forces that would otherwise be absorbed by discs and ligaments. The glutes stabilize your hips, the core braces your lower back, and the spinal stabilizers keep your vertebrae aligned. When these muscles do their job, the painful overloading of tissues decreases, which reduces inflammation and irritation. This means that consistent practice of these exercises doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it addresses one of the root causes of chronic discomfort. And because these exercises are low impact, you're less likely to aggravate your back while building strength, which is crucial after 50. Many people are surprised at how quickly they feel relief once the right muscles are activated and their spine starts getting the support it needs. Flexibility and mobility also improve when you engage in these targeted exercises. Unlike passive stretching, which only lengthens muscles temporarily, strengthening and activating the right muscles allows your joints to move in their proper patterns. This creates a balance between stability and mobility, which is essential for a healthy spine. You'll notice that twisting, reaching, or bending is easier and safer, and your risk of sudden injuries or flare-ups decreases. Movements that used to feel uncomfortable or stiff suddenly become effortless because your body has the muscular foundation to support them. You start moving with confidence rather than caution, which is a game changer for people over 50 who may have spent years avoiding certain activities for fear of pain. There's also a psychological benefit that often goes unnoticed. Chronic pain can take a huge toll on your mental well-being, causing anxiety, frustration, or even depression. When you strengthen the muscles that support your spine and begin moving without fear, you gain a sense of control over your body that many people haven't felt in years. This renewed confidence motivates you to stay active, continue exercising, and embrace life with less hesitation. It's a positive feedback loop. Stronger muscles lead to better movement leads to less pain, and less pain encourages continued activity and strength building. Finally, the cumulative effect of these exercises is profound. It's not just about feeling better for a few hours or days, it's about creating long-term resilience. Your lower back becomes more durable, your posture improves, your flexibility and mobility increase, and your body learns how to move efficiently again. Tasks that used to feel daunting, like lifting groceries, bending to pick up grandchildren, or even walking for exercise, no longer threaten to trigger pain. You begin to understand that your body is capable of much more than you thought, even after 50, and that a consistent, targeted exercise routine is the key to sustaining this freedom of movement and quality of life.
Now let's talk about something that really matters to anyone dealing with low back pain over 50. And that's how reactivating the right muscles doesn't just make movement easier, it changes how your body feels every single day. When the deep core, glutes, and spinal stabilizers are weak, your body compensates in ways that are often invisible but damaging over time. You might notice subtle shifts, like leaning slightly to one side, favoring a leg, or avoiding bending altogether. These small adjustments seem harmless at first, but over weeks, months, and years, they create imbalances that make your pain worse and restrict your movement. What's amazing about these 4 exercises is that they target those weak areas and retrain your body to move efficiently again. You're not just exercising, you're teaching your muscles to protect your spine, maintain alignment, and absorb stress the way they were designed to. Once that happens, you start noticing that your body doesn't feel stiff or fragile anymore, even after sitting for long periods or performing activities that used to trigger discomfort. Your spine begins to feel supported, almost as if it has a natural brace around it. And this is a sensation that many people describe as life-changing because they've spent years living in fear of aggravating their back. One of the first things people experience when their stabilizing muscles start functioning properly is a dramatic reduction in stiffness and tension. That tight, constricted feeling in your lower back, especially in the morning or after sitting for a while, begins to melt away. It happens because the muscles that have been underactive are now engaging and creating movement where there was restriction. Blood flow improves, circulation increases, and tissues that were previously stagnant are now being nourished and supported. This isn't just a temporary relief. Over time, your body becomes more resilient, more flexible, and more responsive. You start moving more naturally, and you're no longer constantly anticipating pain with every twist, turn, or lift. It's a subtle but powerful shift that can completely change how you approach daily life, from chores to hobbies to exercise, because the confidence that comes with feeling stable in your body is enormous. Another profound effect of reactivating these muscles is the improvement in functional strength. Functional strength isn't about lifting heavy weights at the gym. It's about having the muscle support to perform real-world movements without pain or risk. For example, standing up from a low chair, bending to tie your shoes, picking up grandchildren, or walking for extended periods suddenly becomes easier. Your body is doing the work it was designed to do, and your spine is no longer taking unnecessary stress. People often describe this as a feeling of freedom, the ability to move naturally without fear. And this functional improvement doesn't just affect physical performance, it also impacts your overall quality of life. Simple everyday tasks stop being a source of anxiety, and your energy and confidence levels rise because you're not constantly compensating for weak muscles or worrying about a flare-up. Pain relief is another key benefit that comes from activating and strengthening these stabilizing muscles. When your core, glutes, and spinal muscles work in harmony, the spine is properly supported and the load that was previously placed on ligaments, discs, and joints is dramatically reduced. This means that inflammation and irritation, the very sources of chronic pain, start to decrease. Many people are surprised by how quickly they notice relief once their muscles begin functioning again. What used to take medications, heat packs, or endless stretching can be significantly improved with just a few weeks of consistent, targeted exercises. And unlike temporary solutions, strengthening the right muscles addresses the root cause, not just the symptoms. Over time, this reduces the likelihood of future flare-ups and gives your body a level of resilience that simply isn't possible without proper muscle activation. In addition to physical changes, these exercises also have an important psychological impact. Chronic pain can be mentally exhausting, leading to frustration, stress, or even depression. When you feel your muscles supporting your spine, you start to regain a sense of control over your body. You move with more confidence, take part in activities you may have avoided, and regain independence in ways that feel empowering. This sense of control reinforces your commitment to continue exercising because you can see and feel the tangible results in your daily life. The combination of physical and psychological benefits creates a positive feedback loop. The stronger your stabilizing muscles become, the more confident and mobile you feel, and the more likely you are to keep practicing these exercises consistently, which in turn further strengthens your body and spine. Another subtle but important change occurs in the way your body distributes forces. Weak muscles force your spine and ligaments to absorb the shock of everyday activities, leading to pain and overuse injuries. Strength and stabilizers take on this role instead, protecting your spine and allowing your body to move more efficiently. This reduces stress on joints, improves posture, and decreases fatigue because your movements require less effort and your body functions more efficiently. Tasks that previously felt risky or uncomfortable, like bending, lifting, or even twisting, start to feel natural because your muscles are doing the work they were designed to do. And finally, reactivating these muscles creates long-term resilience. The beauty of these 4 exercises is that they don't just provide temporary relief, but they lay the foundation for ongoing spinal health.
Once your muscles are engaged and working properly, your body becomes more adaptable and capable of handling the demands of daily life. You begin to feel stronger, more stable, and more confident in your movement, which is exactly what anyone over 50 needs to maintain independence and enjoy life without constant back pain.
Finally, let's focus on one of the most important points for anyone over 50 dealing with low back pain. These exercises are simple, accessible, and designed to be part of your life without taking over your life. One of the biggest misconceptions about back health is that you need complicated routines, expensive equipment, or hours at the gym to see results. That couldn't be further from the truth. The 4 exercises we've been talking about are specifically chosen because they are straightforward, highly effective, and don't require anything beyond your own body weight, a mat, or perhaps a chair for support. They're designed for consistency and practicality, so even if you've been out of the exercise game for a while, you can begin practicing them safely and gradually. This is crucial because after 50, the goal isn't to push your body to extremes, but to restore function, strength, and stability in the areas that need it most. You're not trying to build a six-pack or lift massive weights. You're reactivating the muscles that protect your spine and make everyday life easier. That approach, when done consistently, is far more effective for long-term back health than any intense short-term workout could ever be. Another reason these exercises are so powerful is that they are scalable. No matter your current level of fitness, you can modify them to suit your needs. If you're just starting out, you can focus on gentle activation, holding positions for shorter periods, and ensuring correct form. If you're more experienced or have regained some strength, you can increase repetitions, add light resistance, or extend holds to challenge your muscles further. This adaptability means that the exercises grow with you, allowing continuous improvement without the risk of overloading your spine or causing injury. The fact that these movements can be adjusted makes them suitable for anyone, whether you're dealing with chronic low back pain, recovering from a minor flare-up, or simply looking to maintain spinal health and mobility for the long term. You don't need a personal trainer or a fancy program, just a commitment to practice regularly and to perform each movement with attention and care. Consistency is the key here. Many people try exercises sporadically, and when they don't see immediate results, they give up, thinking it won't work for them. But the truth is that your muscles have likely been underactive for years, and they need repeated practice to regain their function. Even just a few minutes a day, done correctly, can start to create change. Over time, those minutes add up, and your body begins to adapt. The glutes become stronger, your core regains its stability, and your spinal stabilizers start to support your movements naturally. What seems like a small daily commitment eventually becomes a massive improvement in your mobility, confidence, and freedom from pain. The key is to approach these exercises not as a chore, but as an investment in your long-term quality of life. Another benefit that often goes overlooked is how these exercises improve balance and coordination. Weak stabilizing muscles affect your posture, your gait, and your ability to react to sudden movements. By targeting the muscles that support your spine and pelvis, you're also improving your overall body mechanics. This translates to fewer slips, falls, or awkward movements that could exacerbate back pain. You begin moving with more awareness and control, which not only protects your lower back, but also enhances your overall physical performance. Simple things like stepping onto a curb, reaching for an item on a high shelf, or walking on uneven ground feel easier because your body has rebuilt the muscular foundation necessary to keep you steady and supported. That approach, when done consistently, is far more effective for long-term back health than any intense short-term workout could ever be. Another benefit that often goes overlooked is how these exercises improve balance and coordination. Weak stabilizing muscles affect your posture, your gait, and your ability to react to sudden movements. By targeting the muscles that support your spine and pelvis, you're also improving your overall body mechanics. This translates to fewer slips, falls, or awkward movements that could exacerbate back pain. You begin moving with more awareness and control, which not only protects your lower back, but also enhances your overall physical performance. Simple things like stepping onto a curb, reaching for an item on a high shelf, or walking on uneven ground
feel easier because your body has rebuilt the muscular foundation necessary to keep you steady and supported. That approach, when done consistently, is far more effective for long-term back health than any intense short-term workout could ever be. The exercises develop long-term resilience in your back. When performed consistently, they can prevent future episodes of back pain, maintain mobility, and allow you to enjoy life without being limited by your age or chronic discomfort. They give you the ability to move freely, take on daily tasks without fear, and continue pursuing the activities that make life enjoyable. It's about building strength, stability, and confidence that last well into your 60s, 70s, and beyond.